The greatest murderer in history is not a human. It is not an asteroid, and it is not a virus. It is a tiny, invisible bubble of gas that you are breathing right now. To understand why, we have to go back 2.4 billion years. If you stood on the surface of the Earth back then, you would die instantly. There was no ozone layer to protect you from the sun. The oceans were green with iron, the sky was a hazy orange, and the air was filled with methane. But the planet was alive. The oceans were teeming with trillions of microscopic organisms called anaerobes. They lived peacefully in the dark, eating chemicals and minerals. For them, the Earth was a paradise. But then, a new neighbor moved in. A tiny blue-green bacteria called cyanobacteria. These little guys discovered a biological cheat code. Instead of hunting for scarce minerals, they realized they could eat the sunlight itself. They invented photosynthesis. They drank the water, ate the sun, and as a waste product, they released a strange, reactive gas, oxygen. At first, the Earth could handle it. The iron in the oceans absorbed the oxygen, turning into rust. This is why the rocks in the Grand Canyon are red today. They are the rusted scars of this ancient battle. But eventually, the iron ran out. The oceans became saturated, and the oxygen began to bubble up into the atmosphere. To the life forms of early Earth, oxygen was not a breath of fresh air. It was a chemical weapon. Oxygen is highly reactive. It rips electrons off other molecules. When it touched the delicate cell walls of the anaerobes, it burned them alive on a microscopic level. This was the Great Oxygenation Event. As the cyanobacteria spread, covering the oceans in a green slime, they pumped more and more poison into the air. The anaerobes had nowhere to hide. It was a global gas chamber. 99% of all life on Earth was wiped out. But the horror did not stop there. The oxygen reacted with the methane in the atmosphere, destroying the greenhouse effect that kept the Earth warm. Temperatures plummeted. The planet froze over completely, turning into a giant white snowball floating in space. This ice age lasted for 300 million years. Life had almost completely destroyed the world. So why are we telling you this story? Why does the murder of ancient slime matter? Because you are the child of that apocalypse. A tiny fraction of life survived the oxygen holocaust. They were the mutants, the outcasts. They evolved a way to not just survive the poison, but to use it. They realized that oxygen is dangerous because it is bursting with energy. If you could control that reaction, you could burn fuel much faster than the old anaerobes ever could. This high-energy fuel source allowed life to grow bigger, to build skeletons, to move fast, and eventually to build a brain that consumes 20% of your body's energy. Without the Great Oxygenation Event, life on Earth would still be microscopic sludge hiding in the dark. The toxic gas that killed the old world is the rocket fuel that powers your thoughts, your dreams, and your civilization. We tend to look at nature as a fragile, balanced mother that we humans are destroying. But nature is not peaceful. It is violent, chaotic, and constantly breaking itself. We are not the first species to change the climate. We are not the first to cause a mass extinction. But we are the first ones who can look back at the history of our planet, realize what we are doing, and decide to stop. The cyanobacteria changed the world by accident. We have the power to change it on purpose. If you want to decode more hidden histories of the universe, click subscribe.